What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a very special edition of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer for this episode, Logan Landers. Joining me today, as always, to talk about the tremendous on-field career of this legend in both college and in the NFL of Steve McMichael, former defensive tackle for the Chicago Bears, as well as, of course, the University of Texas. Help me out is a Texas guy through and through, loves the Longhorns. It is Jay McLovin. Jay, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. It's good to be here to talk about a little Steve McMichael, the defensive tackle out of Texas, formerly known as Mongo, or Mongo the Menace, if you're into wrestling.
Yes,
he's 6'2", 269. Pretty decent sized boy for back then. Obviously, he played in the '85 Bears defense, and you know how good that defense was. Obviously, like you say, he played for the Longhorns. He did get the 2024 Hall of Fame class, so he finally made it into there. And again, two-time Pro Bowler, 19th on the list of all-time greatest Bears. So the guy's had a good life in terms of football. Hasn't always been easy to him in terms of him physically, but a great specimen. Mongo was to the football team of Chicago.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you look at him as a whole, just his career in the NFL specifically, 847 tackles, 95 sacks. Just tremendous numbers. Like you said, it was on that legendary '85 Bears team that everyone speaks on, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy was an absolute monster. But we'll take it back a little bit here, Jay. Back in high school in his senior year, this guy was not even a 5-tool athlete. You could say a 6-tool athlete.
Right.
Because he lettered in 6 separate sports, being football, baseball, basketball, track, tennis, golf. I mean, that's a freak athlete right there. And he said he preferred baseball. And, Jay, when he was a catcher, he hit 450 his senior year. He got attention from the Cardinals and the Reds, before ultimately, like I said, but that's how good he was at baseball. He was even better at football, obviously. He got 75 offers.
Yeah.
From coming out of high school. If that doesn't tell you how much of a stud he was. Obviously, as we mentioned, he chose Texas, played defensive tackle there from 76 to 79. Like I said, defensive MVP in 1979 at the Hula Bowl, where, that game there in 1979 won the MVP trophy. Also, all Southwest Conference choice in 78 as well as 79, team MVP in 79. And then once again got into the Longhorn Hall of Fame or Hall of Honor. He got in there. Then as he transitioned into the NFL, a lot of people will kind of skip over it, I would say, but don't talk about it a whole lot. But he was drafted by the New England Patriots back in 1980. But he was
1 year.
Yeah, only there for 1 year before being cut. And then he played for the Bears. They signed him as a free agent in 81. Played in 101 straight games, consecutive starts. I mean, just tremendous before he had some of his starting time cut down a little bit. And just was named to the Pro Bowl teams in 86, 87. Just a tackling machine, right? And, I mean, like you said, let's not forget all the nicknames he had and the big moments in 91, of course, against the Jets. Bears were down 13-6. He got that Thomas that fumble from Blair Thomas and took it back, right? And then Harbaugh got the game-tying touchdown, and they won it in overtime, right? So just clutch there, had the clutch gene. And Mike Ditka, right, one of the most legendary coaches, said that he was, quote, unquote, the toughest player he had ever coached. I mean, I would say rightfully so, right? We know he retired in 94.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, retired in 94, played many, many, many years. Then decided, you know what? Let's try something else out. Since I was a 6-sport athlete in high school, why not try one more? Why not try professional wrestling, as you said? Or he did some work for WCW as a color commentator. Was part of the legendary Four Horsemen group with Ric Flair and Arn Anderson and company. So also with Kevin Green, right? Don't forget about Kevin Green. Also did a little bit of work in wrestling. So had just a heck of a career just in sports. And then, as you mentioned, unfortunately, back in 2021, he was diagnosed with ALS, and he has been dealing with that ever since. He's still alive to this day, still kicking. He's born in 1957. He's 66. And as you mentioned, he was rightfully, maybe took too long, but they did get it right. They voted him into the Hall of Fame, the most recent class, in 2024. And I mean, when you just look at him as a whole, just the impact he had at the college level, at the high school, college, and pro level, as well as some other ventures, right? He did some pro wrestling, and also too, he was a coach. He did some coaching in a little bit later on in his career. Got a championship in the CIFL in 2009, the Continental Indoor Football League. So just a guy who just gets it done, right? He has a ton of just accolades to him. His page goes on and on and on, and just a great, tremendous athlete. Just it's every sense of the word. I mean, that's what this guy is. Steve Mongo McMichael is just purely an athlete. And like you mentioned, on the field, just an absolute monster. And off the field, Jay, he is a warrior, right? He's been battling with these symptoms for many years now. We wish him the best, his family as well, while he continues to fight and battle through his ALS diagnosis. So we wish the best for him and his family during these tough times and, from here on out. But just an absolute pleasure today talking about this legend in NCAA and the NFL, Steve McMichael. Jay McLovin, man, thanks as always for coming on the show, talking some Mongo with us. It's been absolute fun, man. And you guys, once again, if you enjoy the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe, Facebook and YouTube. And also go check out our podcast, available every single week on all podcast streaming platforms. For Jay McLovin, I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Guys, we'll talk to you